Hi, my name is Brian Leggett, and we're going to discuss the security branches at Morgan Stanley. Now, Morgan Stanley is an investment banking company. It's based in New York City. We're going to discuss three branches which happened from 2021 to 2023. The first one is going to be an Accellion data hack. Second breach is going to be a hardware breach. Third one is going to be a messaging breach. We're going to get into the root causes of these breaches. Right, so the main problem of the Accellion hack was that it was a third-party company. Now, the third-party company was using a program called Accellion FTA, which they were using for account maintenance with Morgan Stanley. Now, that program was 20 years old when they got hacked. It had multiple points of failure and vulnerabilities. Because let's face facts, 20 years ago, hacking in the signal was nowhere near what it is today. Okay. The root cause of the 2022 hardware breach. That one was improper hiring of a third-party vendor. They were decommissioning offices and getting rid of hardware. Now, they didn't hire the right company, and the company lost track of 42 servers. Now, they were able to get some back, but most are still gone. And that company server had a lot of personal data on it. Much like the Accellion hack, they lost personal data, but unfortunately, like the Accellion hack, this data was not encrypted, which was worse. Alright. One of the main kills, like I said, was improper hiring. They didn't encrypt their data, and they didn't properly oversee their third-party vendor. Okay, the third breach is a messaging app breach. Now, this is about personal employees using unregulated, unauthorized messaging apps to discuss company business. Now, while these apps are secure, they're not in control of the company. The company doesn't have a client with them, and the people who monitor and secure these messages are outside of the company's control. All right, let's go to the exposure and damages. Well, the hack just exposed personal data, which left up employees to identity theft. They had multiple articles written about them, which led to loss of bad faith, which for a company, an investment company, your reputation is very important. The same thing with the data breach. Personal information was lost, which opened up clients to identity theft and other frauds. They lost bad press, loss of faith, hurt the reputation. But since this company was personally bought and was employed by Morgan Stanley, it opened up to an SEC investigation. Unlike the third-party site, which wasn't responsible for their own hack, this was Morgan Stanley themselves. And it also opens up the civil suits, because again, this was an issue caused by something directly under their control. Again, the messaging app, discussing private information on unsecured apps. SEC investigation and fines, it opens up to allegations of insider trading. Okay, now we do recompense and prevention. What happens? Alright. So in the Accellion hack, they got the employees, anyone infected, got 2 years of free credit monitoring. They completely phased out the program. There was no longer a quiet phase out. They completely got rid of the Accellion FTA program. And anyone who still banked with them got in security measures. Alright. Well, for the hardware data breach, that one was more thing. They had a $35 million settlement from the SEC. Okay, well, that was a $35 million settlement with the people affected by that data. They did this, of course, to get rid of the SEC investigation and all of that. And the final message app breach, no, this one was fine. They had fines from the SEC with $200 million. The company levied fines against its own employees from anywhere from $1,000 to $1 million based on seniority, number of messages, and if any prior warnings have been given. And in some cases, if the person was high enough and they should have known better, they were fired. At the end of the day, recommendations going forward said they just needed more oversight. A big company, a lot of moving pieces, things do get lost. That is why they needed more oversight. It's easy to lose things, and if that's the case, you should make sure you're making very sure to look for them and look after them.